Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of News You Can Use. I'm your host, Thera Martin. Today on the program, we're dedicating the whole show to talking about technology, our computers, and how familiar are we with them, and what are the things we need to know. We've got an expert that's going to join us in studio to do just that. Mr. Wayne Hunter will join us from Talking Tech Wayne. That's who he is, and that's the subject that we'll be dealing with today on the program. Also want to remind you that we've got a primary election coming up in Pennsylvania. That's going to be on Tuesday, May the 20th, and we certainly encourage people who want to participate in the primary election, make for sure you are a registered voter. The deadline to register to vote is Tuesday, May the 5th. All righty, we'll be back in just a moment with our guests. Stay with us right here at News You Can Use. Here, Thera Martin with you on this edition of News You Can Use.
Very much for having me.
Wow.
Good to see you.
It is good to see you, but you didn't say that. You said you can use rebooted. I'm Thera Martin, and I am glad to be back at LaSalle TV. Hello, everybody. I am the host for this program, and we are so glad to be with you today. This is News You Can Use. I'm Thera Martin, and we're going to be talking with Mr. Wayne Hunter, Talking Tech with Wayne. That's the name of his business, and that's what he does. He knows his stuff around technology, I tell you. So let's jump right into it. We don't want to waste any time. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Thera. Technology has been such a help for me, and I want to make sure that seniors had access to it so that they can see if there's value with that.
So that's how you got started with Talking Tech with Wayne?
Well, I actually am a lifelong geek. I've been in and around computers really for the last 40 years. But and I run a company, Cyber Solutions, since the 90s, which provides technical support to businesses. But about 7 or 8 years ago, it occurred to me how much I was using technology in my everyday life. Not just for geeky stuff, but for how I navigated the world. And I came upon kind of a statement that had two parts, that we're the first aging generation that has access to the things that technology can bring. However, we're also the generation least likely to take advantage of those. So at that point, with that revelation, Talking Tech with Wayne was born. We started off with in-person groups, and we were in 3 or 4 senior health centers across the Northwest Philadelphia. And our services then grew. We instituted a 24/7 hotline. I began doing a television show. I have a weekly podcast, a weekly newsletter. I've written about 25, 30 books, mostly about technology and seniors. So it's really about making sure that people who see value in technology don't think that it's for everyone else and not them.
Right.
So.
It's for everybody. We're in the 21st century. Hello, you gotta know technology. And that's what I continue to preach every time I'm around people who are older than me. And I'm an older lady now myself, but people who are even older than me, I still try to encourage people in their 80s and whatnot to get involved in technology. Don't be afraid of the computer. You can have so much fun with it.
Absolutely. And the real challenge for us of this age is that it's so new to us that we are least likely to kind of see the value. But there's true value there in how we stay healthy and how we stay safe and how we connect. And people are mostly surprised when they realize that it may not be like fall off the bike easy, but it's almost always less complicated than we think.
Okay. So now, the services that you provide, I gotta say, as an intro to that, I first met you at an event that Pennsylvania State Representative Derisha Parker hosted. Hey, Rep. Derisha Parker, how are you? And that was at the Allegheny West Plaza last year. And I was really impressed with the way you took charge of that room and shared the knowledge that you had with the 60 or so seniors that were in the room. But what all do you do besides going out and speaking at senior citizens gatherings?
Well, the real meat and bones of what we provide is more than just the in-person groups. Along with the 12 to 15 in-person groups we do a week, around the Philadelphia and surrounding counties. We also do another 20 in-person consultations, and that ranges anywhere from people who have issues with their technology to wanting to learn how to do it better, and having an opportunity to do personal kind of a one-on-one actually does help a lot of people in a number of ways.
Okay. Misconceptions that people have about seniors. And let me start by confessing what one of mine is. Again, I'll acknowledge I'm an older lady now myself. I still, whenever you can hand me a piece of paper, I'm still happy getting a piece of paper in my hand. I still enjoy reading a newspaper in my hands as opposed to reading stuff online and whatnot. But I always say when I'm in planning meetings about events and stuff with elected officials and even with colleagues that I work with at the nonprofit that I work for, Allegheny West Foundation, everybody always wants to do everything online. We're going to put a flyer online. So I'm like, well, but seniors might miss it. I'm the one in the room that always has the voice that says, but seniors might miss it. And I'm kind of wrong, because more seniors are hip to the computer and the internet than used to be.
Oh, absolutely. There have been actually since the pandemic, there's been this push to kind of adapt technology. But one of the things that we discovered in how we provided service was that not everyone learns the same way. And there's a significant amount of people who responded to the books that I wrote as opposed to having things online. We also do, like I say, a television show. We have a podcast. So making sure that we meet the seniors where they are, not where we want them to be, has helped us be kind of successful in what we've done.
So you do feel like seniors, people 65 and older, are coming along, particularly since the pandemic, more today than prior with being knowledgeable about the internet, using the computer and technology?
Oh, absolutely. I think the pandemic kind of pushed us along, but one of the things that I've discovered is that once they realize that it's not the difficult task that they thought it was, they find that they have a voice. One of the initiatives that Talking Tech does is we help folks tell stories. We do content creation. And whether that's writing a book, whether that's doing a podcast, whether that's actually doing a YouTube channel, we in this generation have stories to tell. And technology gives us new and exciting ways to tell that story. And that's one of the initiatives that I'm most proud of. So it's an amazing thing once people begin to overcome their fears. Part of what we try to help folks understand is how they strengthen their digital resiliency so that they're not so overwhelmed. And when I talk to people about that, what I try to have them understand is that technology is a tool. And like any tool, it should be judged by the task that it does. You don't need to learn everything everything there is about a hammer. You have a hammer. You want to put a picture up, you hammer a nail, and boom, there it is. You don't need to know everything a carpenter knows about that hammer to get your task done. And that seems to be what happens is people believe that they have to learn everything. And that's just not so. Figure out what you want to learn. Find that piece of it. Do that, and maybe tomorrow you'll figure out something else. Do it in baby steps. It becomes a way that you look back over a month or 2 months or over a year, and you realize that you've come a ways. And all with small incremental steps.
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking at the great questions that are in front of me, and I know we're not going to get through all of them, and I definitely want to get to scams that come up on the internet and when we're dealing with our computers. I want to get to that. But before we even go there, can you walk us through what a typical tech support session would look like for someone reaching out to your company?
Oh, absolutely. The bottom line is we don't have determined scripts on how we deal with people. We meet them where they are. We try to ask, what is it where do you see the value? What is it about technology that would interest you? And that's kind of where we start. This whole idea that technology is a one-size-fits-all is one of the problems that people have. We can have a room full of people, and each one of them have a different relationship to technology. And that's kind of what our tech support or our one-on-one consultations are, is finding out where the value is for the participant and help them kind of realize that.
Digital navigators, what's that?
That is a great question. One of the secrets of Philadelphia is we have a whole network of folks who are waiting and willing to help them with technology. And some of those are called digital navigators. In simplest terms, what a digital navigator is, it is a person, generally from the community, that helps people kind of find affordable internet, which I'll come back to, low-cost devices, and digital skills to use those devices. And with that, there's actually a number, and I'm going to share this with you. That number is 211. It is the city's number that puts you in touch with navigators that will listen to your concerns and try to steer you in the right direction. And that's kind of at the core of what navigation is helping people find the resources. One of those actually ends up being Comcast. Comcast has low-cost internet for those that qualify. It starts off around $15 a month. I actually have a number, and that's 855-846-8376. And if you call that number, someone will help realize whether or not you are eligible for that. And along with low-cost internet, they also have low-cost devices that are available to purchase, along with some training. So again, 211 will get you with the city's network of digital navigators. Comcast has their own set of services. And, of course, talking tech.
Hold that thought for me.
Yes.
We're going to go to break. We'll come back and continue our conversation with Mr. Wayne Hunter. We're so glad he's here. Talking Tech with Wayne. That's what we're focusing on today on this edition of News You Can Use. And when we come back from break, we'll also want to find out how can caregivers, family members, or community organizations better support older adults in becoming more digitally literate. We'll do that. Stay with us right here on News You Can Use. We'll be back.
When a child in your life requires intensive care, their health fragile, their condition complex, certified acute care pediatric and neonatal nurse practitioners will give you the information and support you need to make the best decisions for your child, while providing the critical care your child needs. Trained to diagnose and manage life-threatening conditions and emergencies, they are trained to make a difference. Learn why at certifiednurses.org.
Children exposed to poor air quality have smaller lungs and higher rates of asthma than children with good air quality. IQ Air Foundation is working to change this, providing filtration technology to school children with poor air quality through the Clean Air for Kids program, helping kids to breathe over 90% cleaner air indoors, removing barriers to learning, reducing sick days, and increasing test scores. This is all key to environmental and climate justice. Find out how you can help at iqairfoundation.org.
We live in a country that incarcerates its own people more than any other nation in the world.
The individual can age out of crime. He or she, 9 times out of 10, is no longer thinking like he or she once thought when they were 18. This is a good time to have a second look for everyone. We have 50 years of data that proves to us emphatically that the old way of doing things no longer works.
Dear University of...
Thank you for your offer
to become student ID number 283471.
While I appreciate your desire
for my impeccable academic record,
I must decline the opportunity
to get a generic degree.
I've decided to tell my story.
To be a student,
not a statistic.
I wish you good luck in the future
as I embark on mine.
Well, news you can use. It continues right now, and we are so glad to have you with us. Thank you for checking us out on LaSalle TV at Comcast Channel 56 and at Verizon Channel 36. My guest in the studio today, Mr. Wayne Hunter. You see this smile on my face? I'm having so much fun. I feel like I should be paying Professor Tanya for letting me do the show today, because this is great. I mean, I'm loving the opportunities to learn and to get some of the knowledge that Mr. Wayne Hunter shares. He is the proud owner of Talking Tech with Wayne. That's one of his entities. He's got others, but that's the one we wanted to focus on today. And before we went to break, I said, how can caregivers, family members, or community organizations better support us older folk in this whole technology world? What can we do?
That is a wonderful question.
I wanted to do more to support my mom when she was still alive, and she wasn't having it. She was not having it.
There is part of what I want people who have older folks in their lives is to understand and realize and acknowledge that our seniors are capable, intelligent people, and a lot of times those caregivers don't give the seniors as much credit as they should. Mm-hmm. Part of what I would encourage them to do is, instead of doing tasks for their seniors, teach them how to do it. Have them become more independent, because again, as we age, the more we're able to do, the more we will do. And our independence is based on the fact that we are independent, that we are doing these things. We're in an information age, and one of the things that's great about this era that we're in is that there's not a question that is out of reach for anyone, including our seniors. And one of the initiatives that we have is about information literacy. Having folks figure out how to get the information they need, and more importantly, how to vet it, how to make sure it's credible information, and then how to put it in their lives. But before the break, I wanted to get back to this. Talking Tech has a helpline, and that's 215-406-HELP. That's 215-406-HELP. And we also have a website that's jammed full of information and resources. And that website is talking-tech.org. That's TALKING-TECH.org. And I also was talking about Comcast and some of the services, along with the city's digital navigation network. All of these things are in place so that you're never alone. You always have access to resources that will help you have technology make an impact in your life. But I would be remiss if I didn't actually share a resource for low-cost devices. There's an organization called PCs for People that provides low-cost devices for you. And their number is 215-621-8118. So all of that information is on our website. And you were asking a question about
I want to jump on to scams. That's a huge concern, not just for seniors, for anybody.
For
Everybody
anyone.
can become a victim of a scam in technology, using our computers. We're paying bills online. And by the way, I still don't pay bills online.
well,
I actually, this is what I do. I give the money to my daughter-in-law, and she pays the bills for me.
good
But
for
I
her.
don't trust it. I don't trust it.
Well, Thera, I will not send you to the principal's office. So there you have it. But when we did a survey for people and what was their number one concern, it is no surprise that how do you stay safe in this technical age. And if you ask me nice, I'm going to share one rule that if you put that in your life, it can protect you against 80% of the scams that are out there. Does that
Mr.
sound like
Wayne,
worth?
I'm asking you nice.
Well,
Please
you know
share
what?
with all of us.
I have to acquiesce. There you
Okay.
go. And what that rule is it doesn't matter what the message is. It doesn't matter in what form it comes, whether it's email, text, phone call, or someone at your door. Treat it suspect. Be skeptical. There will be, and part of, and let's talk about the anatomy of the scammers and kind of how they put things in place. Their intent is to get you emotionally involved. And the reason for that is that if you are hyped, you're less likely to make a good decision. So they'll have a message that'll pluck one of your strings, and it will either be to scare you, make you angry, or in some case, get you greedy. And once they have you in that state, you're less likely to see the scam for what it is. So getting back to my original rule, that rule is, first, doesn't matter where the message comes from, treat it as suspect. In some cases, just think of it as a scam. The second part of that rule is to have numbers for the people you do business with, whether that's Social Security, whether that's Amazon, whether that is your doctor, your insurance. Have
phone numbers.
Have phone numbers. Or websites that you bookmark. Because part of how the scam works is that they get you upset, get you excited, get you looking for a resolution. And in that message or on that phone call, that option is right there. Call that number. And that's how they get you. Part of it is if you have a number and you've already decided that this may be a skeptical call, email, or text message, if you have your own contact methods, you're not relying on them because that's the core. Don't do anything that message says. And that includes someone at your door, someone on the phone, somebody text message, email, doesn't matter. So first part, treat it as a scam. Be skeptical. Second part, follow up if it's of interest to you. If it is an account you care about, whether it's PDW, Pico, whether it's a site you shop at, whether it's Social Security, always follow up with a method of communication that you know is good. And if you are adhering to that, and don't get me wrong, it's not the easiest thing in the world once someone gets you upset to not just want to get that resolved. But your job is to win the moment. There's one moment that if you win that moment, you've won that interaction. And again, the converse is if you've lost that moment, you may spend the next 2 years kind of getting out from under it.
Yeah.
So if it's a message and you're not sure where it comes from, and these are unsolicited messages. If you are in communication with Social Security and they say, listen, we're going to email you, call you, or whatever, and you get that call, that's part of what you initiated.
Yes.
But if it's out of the blue, treat it as skeptical.
Yes. Yes.
Always, always have a contact number to follow up. You don't
Okay.
want to ignore it if it's legitimate. And the third thing is when that moment, overcome that emotional state.
Okay, hold that thought. We're almost out of time. Can you believe I've got like less than 2 minutes to go for the show? Oh, goodness. Anything coming up in April, any training that you'll be doing in the northwest section of the city of Philadelphia where LaSalle is? You know, we're in northwest.
We are all over.
You're all over.
I'm in Center in the Park every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 o'clock. I am up
Center in the
in
Park, yeah.
Southwest Philadelphia. That's Wednesdays at 11. I'm in West Philadelphia.
Okay, so people need to go to your website.
Go to my website. Everything is up there, and I apologize for being wordy.
Wow, you are excellent. I appreciate you. And next season, if I have an opportunity to come back again to host the show at LaSalle TV, we want you to come back and share more information. You're also on cable TV on the public access network in the city of Philadelphia, right?
Yes, I'm on Comcast 66, Verizon 2930,
Okay.
Sundays at 1.
All right. Love me some cable TV. Yes, I do. Thank you, Wayne. Appreciate you so very much. And the wonderful young people who helped to make this show happen. And also our professor, Tanya Ellis, for putting this show on for us. We certainly appreciate you. This is News You Can Use. I'm your host, Thera Martin, reminding you we've got an election coming up, primary election. It's Tuesday, May the 20th. If you did not yet register to vote, go ahead and do so. We're going to be deciding on district attorney, city controller, and a whole bunch of judicial seats. So it's important. It's important that you get involved. Everybody take care, and thanks for checking us out today on this edition of News You Can Use. Have a good